Hey guys, what's up? This is RJ Game News USA here, back today with another video, and today we're going to discuss the review scores for WWE 2K26, so smash that like button, smash that subscribe button, and let's jump right into it. So, WWE 2K26 has an 81 on Metacritic. It's got 24 total reviews at the time of this recording. 21 positive, 2 mixed, and 1 negative. We're going to jump right into it. We're going to read all these reviews, probably. No perfect scores, but the top score is a 97 from Gamers RD, who says Visual Concepts has done it again, delivering a phenomenal experience and a solid entry with WWE 2K26, thanks to the new modes, the island experience, and overall layer of polish. It provides WWE fans with a fully realized product boasting incredible visual fidelity. Now, before we continue, let me go ahead and tell you guys this. I used to really enjoy the WWE games. This is one of those that was always fun with friends in the room. Of course, you get older, you get in your 30s. You don't really do that as much because, you know, you're busy with life and career. They're busy with wife and kids. You know, stuff like that. But, you know, I played some of the recent WWE games. They're not bad, just not really my thing. I'm really pissed off that the only stream I've ever gotten taken down on my YouTube career was a WWE 2K25. I tried to play that live, and they took it down. So, pissed off about that. Will not be buying, will not be streaming this game. We have a 95 from Daily Star, saying, I'm giving this a 95 out of 100, but if a few little bugs are ironed out, that it's as close to perfection as a wrestling game has ever been. We have a 90 from Loot Level Chill, who says, WWE 2K26 is one hell of a game, featuring tons of variety across matches and how they play out, as well as game modes giving players plenty of freedom to enjoy. We have another 90 here from Game Smurf, saying 2K26 is an impressive game that captures the magic of WWE. It's 3 games in one, maybe even 4, each with remarkable depth and each enriched with a host of new features in this edition. There's always room for improvement, but this is one of the highest peaks in the series. Now, I got to point this out. He says that it has 3, maybe 4 games within this game. It would be nice if GameSmurf would point out what they mean by that. Like, for instance, if I were to, let's say, talk about a Call of Duty game, and I said, look, guys, this is like 3 games in one. It's a campaign, there's a multiplayer, and there's zombies. That's one way to look at it, but I just look at that more as those are different modes in a game, dumbass. They're not multiple games in one. Maybe you could say that about a compilation, like a trilogy compilation, or when the God of War remake comes out and it's 3 in 1, right? The opposite of what Final Fantasy VII did, which is make one game into 3, but that's aside for a different story. Yeah, so, again, I'm really tired of games that think they only need one type of mode, and we're good. I mean, I'd like to go back to the era where we had shooters that had, with the campaign and a multiplayer that didn't necessarily have to be live service. But that's just me. So I would like to know what GameSmurf is smoking. Comic Book with a 90 says, despite those issues, the wrestling in 2K26 is outstanding, and the depth of the roster and the updates to the array of modes make this game considerably better than last year's version. Considering last year's game was already stellar, it only makes 2K26 that much more impressive. I played 2K25, it's okay. There's a ceiling on these wrestling games, man. Like, look, my favorite kind of fighting game is Smash Bros. And obviously, wrestling's not looking to be Smash Bros. It's looking to articulate what wrestling is. The problem is the current wrestling product sucks. So yeah, you probably get more enjoyment out of 2K, But the real reason you're supposed to enjoy and watch wrestling is for the storylines. And so, for a wrestling game, I would like someone to actually tackle, a real making your own storylines in a wrestling game. You know what I mean? Like, beyond just a couple generic things you can change. Like, really be able to almost AI generate a story that you craft. Would be the idea. Alright, we have Game & Mobile with a 90 that says, I tip my hat to the developers for how they're continually able to prove every year. Sure, it's not a perfect game, but objectively, I believe that 2K26 is the best wrestling game ever made. And that's the bottom line because I said so. I don't agree with that. I understand maybe nostalgia's at play here, but WrestleMania 2000 or WWF Attitude have to be like the top wrestling games for me. But then again, that could be a me issue. Gaming Nexus with a 90 says 2K26 is a great move forward for the series, and the developers have laid down a lot of exciting groundwork that can be expanded upon future games. The grind is still as bad as ever though, and the ringside pass needs to be changed so the DLC wrestlers can be earned much earlier than they are now. Those issues aside, this is a WWE game that I will undoubtedly be playing most of the year. That's it for the 90s, guys. We're in the 80s now. Tierra Gamer with an 87 says 2K26 refines its formula with more solid gameplay, a deeper MyGM mode, and a polished presentation. The arrival of AAA adds value, although microtransactions remain its biggest weakness. Yeah, of course, this game is absolutely... Sorry. This game is absolutely loaded to the brim with microtransactions. But then again, every sports game is, isn't it? PSX Brazil with an 85 says, without reinventing the formula, 2K26 shows that the franchise has reached an exemplary level of maturity among sports games. The subtle gameplay improvements, the inclusion of new light types, the exciting showcase starring CM Punk, and the good replayability of My Rise make this one of the most complete editions of the series. Despite this, monetization practices continue to plague fans, especially those who want to get the most out of the title. Well, that's the point, right? And there's one thing to be said where, I believe if you're already charging full price for a game, that having microtransactions in said game feels scummy as fuck. And I'll stand by that. Like, pick a lane to monetize people. Either you monetize them with the microtransactions on a free-to-play game, or you monetize them with or you don't monetize them with microtransactions on a fully paid-for game. It's disgusting when companies do both. And I'll stand by that statement. Kind of like how it's disgusting how we're taxed our income and we're taxed when we buy stuff. And we're taxed just for owning things. Pick a lane, stick to it, tax us one way and one way only, that's fair. Only make us pay for a game one way only, and it's fair. Then we have Spazio Games with an 85, saying 2K26 undoubtedly represents the most complete evolution of the formula built over the last few years without overturning the foundations of the series. Visual concepts expands nearly every aspect of the experience. New match types, more dynamic presentation system, improved physics, and a massive roster all contribute to creating one of the richest entries in the franchise's history. Wow. Well-worded review there. Alright, 81 was the overall Metacritic score, so now we're going under that, starting with an 80 from Restart Run, who says 2K26 will scratch that video game wrestling itch with a WrestleMania-sized offering of matches, modes, and wrestlers to choose from. Changes to the way things are unlocked are disappointing, turning the game more into a grind than it should be. But the different formats you'll play in order to unlock those items rise above the grind. The island continues to impress, while My GM and Universe modes allow you to get deep into the nitty-gritty of show planning in a way other wrestling games have yet to manage. I'd like to know more about this show planning, if it's actually really that deep. Area Jungus with an 80 says 2K26 has established itself as one of the best recent games in the series, offering enough new features to satisfy fans and a standout showcase mode. Though it doesn't quite reach the legendary status of 2K14, its wide variety of modes and stipulations make it very complete and enjoyable installment. Dirty little secret though, guys. Even though the wrestling games ran a lot better on the 360 and the PS3, if you ever got the Wii copies of WWE games, they were always full of fucking crazy glitches. Personally, I'm usually anti-glitch, but that is for single-player games. In multiplayer games that you play on couch specifically with friends, glitches was fucking funny. I had The Undertaker floating above a Hell in a Cell, flying in the air. The custom characters in there that I made, me and my friends made, were absolutely terrifying. Like, horribly bad. And, like, I made a fucking demon-looking thing in a pink bikini. Doing, like, Trish Stratus moves. Like, ridiculous, right? And that's the thing. Video games are just supposed to be fun. Screen Hub with an 80. While this game isn't much of an upgrade as its predecessor was, it still offers plenty for players looking to live out their wrestling dreams. EveryEye.it with an 80 says 2K26 presents itself to fans of great pro wrestling has a revised and improved version of the previous game that smooths out some rough designs. Alright, IGN Adria with an 80 says 2K26 continues to maintain its streak of quality, and with its largest roster yet, alongside meaningful additions to existing modes, it will be undoubtedly keep players to their screens until the next installment. And then we have Checkpoint Gaming with an 80.
All right, everybody, it's time.
They say 2K26 is still the heavyweight champion of the scene. Well, no shit, it's the only WWE game. The series does not disappoint with loads of content across multiple varied modes of play. It features the largest roster of past and present superstars of the series, despite a handful of those sitting behind a grind. Questionable microtransactions still exist, but the gameplay is still solid and competitive, and there are several new features that help with immersion and presentation. IGN France with an 80. Beautiful, new, returning, but also have more questionable choices that will make this annual episode a very good vintage. Unfortunately, married by a formula that that's increasingly similar to that of its basketball cousin. And we do not like NBA 2K here on the channel. At all. So, I sit out WWE, I sit out NBA, and I sit out NHL games. We do Madden. We alternate between Madden and college football every year on stream. And I'm down for MLB The Show this year. So check those out on my playlist on the channel as well. Our last 80 is from Gaming Trend, saying 2K26 offers a little something for everyone with the biggest roster to date and more match choices than ever before. Wrestling has never felt so good. Sadly, animation and face scanning issues put a pin in the fun very quickly. Face scanning? Oh, I want to know more about that. What are they talking about? That sounds crummy. WF Fetch with a 75 says 2K26 offers a more well-balanced card than last year, including some welcome tweaks to core gameplay, fun new match types, and solid additions to most modes. As with most annualized sports franchises, a lot of improvements feel rather piecemeal. And the addition of a grindy new ringside pass nearly pushes the game into the realm of an NBA 2K style over monetization. Ouch, NBA 2K still catches some strays, huh? XGN with a 75 with a very small review, saying significantly improved gameplay and realistic, expansive fights. Man, what did they give last year's game if they only gave that a 75 and said that? IGN Italia with a 75, our last positive review, saying 2K26 is loud, excessive, and delightfully crazy. Visual Concepts has chosen chaos has its mantra, certified by the presence of CM Punk, and the result is a game packed with content and new features. The problem is that underneath the spectacle, the engine creaks, and some gameplay systems feel very old. That's the first reviewer to call that out. I've always felt that about wrestling games. The gameplay systems feel old underneath the new presentation. We have two mixed reviews. A 70 from Tech Radar Gaming, who says 2K26 once again sees 2K improve on its yearly release. But like with other years, there's always a downside to go along with it. This year's My Rise feels undercooked, and the ringside pass looks like paid DLC behind progression that takes an age to move forward. It's still a top-of-the-line grappler, but frustrating choices hold it back. And trust me, I know about the grind. I put 7 hours into Splitgate, and I am tier 95 out of 115 in their level system they made. I'm grinding it all the way out. I don't care. But I'm not spending a dime. Hey, I don't mind. It was a free-to-play game. This is a full-price game now. This is a full-price game. She'll be able to pretty much pick your wrestlers you want pretty quickly, right? Games Radar Plus with a 70 mixed review says 2K26 is a brilliant wrestling game where it counts, but I recommend waiting a couple months to purchase to see how my faction and ringside pass rewards play out in the medium term. For now, action in the ring is solid and some of the best in the series, but it can sting when rewards feel so miserly and centered on monetization over skill. Yeah, that's true. That's just true. Monetization over skill sucks. And I do say, if you just wait on this game, it'll probably go on a sale before you know it. You know what I mean? It being a yearly, annual release. That, and unlike football, and basketball, and baseball, and hockey, it's not like the roster's going to change that much from year to year. So, you pretty much have a very similar roster to the previous year. Yes, they added some, but you don't have to get a wrestling game every year. Not necessarily. Maybe if you skipped a couple and you want to dive back in, sure. Or if you're a super fan that does buy it every year, I don't blame you. Go ahead, keep doing you. But other than that, I'm waiting for a sale. That's what I would do. I'm not getting it at all because I can't stream it. Dextero with a 40, a negative review, and it's way lower than all the other reviews, a 40. They say WWE 2K26 is like a star that is ready for a push. It's put in the work and has a great foundation. The roster is pretty stellar. The game modes are there, and so many systems are in place. Now it's just about bringing them all together and taking the next step. No more showcase. No more new match types. Focus on what you have and enhance it significantly. Dextero not happy, giving this a bad negative review here about WWE 2K26. But overall, the general consensus here is the game's good. There's a lot of modes to do, but the microtransactions suck. Overall, it's an 81 on Metacritic. So at the end of the day, you, the viewer, will have to decide, are you going to pick up WWE 2K26? Let me know in the comments below. And until next time, this is RJ signing out. Have a good one.